Let's bring in NBC 10 political commentator Sue O'Connell. She's joining us from the newsroom right now. Sue, you just heard right there in that story, right? Netanyahu says that he's not getting weapons. President Biden, the White House, they're calling BS. They're denying it, saying that, that's not true. It seems, however, like the relationship between the two of them, it has started to sour. And this was a long time coming. What happened here?
Yeah, President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu, they've known each other for decades, since Biden was a young senator and Netanyahu was in Washington, D.C. As an ambassador working in that office. The relationship has had rough patches in the past, especially when Biden was vice president under Barack Obama. And Biden, probably the most pro-Israel U.S. president in history. But right now, with the international criticism growing about the way Israel is conducting their war with Hamas, and with Netanyahu preparing to address Congress at the end of July, which, as we heard, some Democrats think he may use to attack the Biden administration's diplomatic strategy. And of course, Biden is running for re-election and getting pressure from many, many Democrats and voters about his approach around Israel. So this delicate balancing act that Biden has been trying to pull off may be coming to an end because it's become untenable.
I want to zero in on Netanyahu, though, right? Because he's not only facing trouble with other leaders across the globe, he's facing some trouble within his own country, right? His war cabinet, we know, it's been reported, it's been dissolved, and the rest of his government doesn't appear to be doing much better right now. So what is going wrong over there?
Well, there's a ton of criticism of Netanyahu from both the citizens of Israel and members of the government. Just this past week, Israel's military spokesman criticized Netanyahu, saying that Hamas is an idea that can't be defeated. And meanwhile, thousands of Israelis are protesting against the government, sometimes outside of Netanyahu's home. So some are concerned that the dissolution of this war cabinet could allow Netanyahu to drag out the war in an effort to stay in power in order to avoid new elections. And he's also got a pending corruption trial, which we barely talk about anymore. So Netanyahu may be in a position where he has to choose between staying this course he has chosen for the war or saving his government.
I want to talk to you about some news that broke yesterday that I think a lot of folks raised their eyebrow at, right? Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, they signed an agreement which says that if one country is attacked, the other will come in and will help. Essentially, that is what NATO is. With that in mind, what NATO is, that is what Donald Trump says he doesn't want the U.S. involved in. I want you to sort of comment on the idea that America's enemies are banding together while the man who could be the president is actively trying to distance us from our allies.
You're right, Colton. Trump has indeed been critical of NATO. It's a group of allies, a group of our allies, American allies. And Trump has said, on the other hand, very complimentary things about Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, who are dictators of countries who are not our friends and are not friends to our allies. Russia has the world's largest nuclear arsenal, and North Korea wants to become a full-fledged nuclear-armed state. So, if former President Trump gets elected in November, and U.S. membership in NATO is contingent, as he has recently said, on members paying their bills, and if Russia or North Korea get involved in aggressions with a NATO member, say Germany or France, what's the U.S. going to do? Are we going to refrain from protecting our allies or throw in with the dictators? These are questions to ponder as we consider who earns our vote for president in the fall.
All right. Our Sue O'Connell there live for us in the newsroom. Sue, as always, thank you. And everyone else at home, you can catch Sue every Sunday right here on NBC Boston. At Issue is on at 11:30. That is right after Meet the Press.